I got down from the stage, I came, and then she's like, Kutima, this is Chiru. Arjun uncle's nephew. I was like, I know. And that is when we shook hands. And he didn't let go of my hand.
Oh, so it was love at first meet.
I still remember that so clearly. I just opened the door of the car and I get a message saying, I'm like, why should I tell you? I didn't know you wanted me to tell you, or something like that. I've told him, and he messages back saying, I think I really like you. I froze. Another family member was like, oh my God, you really have to think about the child now. You have to stop thinking about what's happened. And that is when I looked at the more sensible member in the family and I said, the child is yet to come. Did any one of you even think of me for a second? Did you all ask me if I am going to be okay? Very recently, I had put up a post of I think where I was eating something. Yeah, I was eating
burgers
I was like continuously eating. So it was my binge day, and it was a random decision that I'm going to put it on social media. And then some random comment saying, oh, so now you don't remember Chiru at all. I'm like, I don't have to prove it to you, brother. I really don't have to prove it to you. The first thing I did after I heard the news was to call my gynecologist, because I had to hold on to the most precious thing about Chiru, and that's our child.
Grief, one of the strongest emotions in humans, is often the most overlooked emotion as well. When you deal with the loss of a loved one, it can make you bitter or better. Today I have a woman who's dealt with it with a lot of strength and given power to all the other men, women and kids who deal with their own vulnerabilities and insecurities. Welcoming Meghana Raj Sarja in conversation with me only on Bollywood Bubble's Her Story Season 3. Thank you so much for doing this, Meghana.
Thank you, Nayandeep. This is wonderful to be here with you.
You've given a lot of power to everybody dealing with grief. From a person who was dealing with it herself to becoming this person, how has the journey been? Was it ever difficult? Was it a smooth ride? It can't be, but how did you tackle those moments?
I feel we don't plan things, and it's better that way. So whatever has happened, there's always a reason for it, and we may never get to know why. I might always keep asking that question as to why something like this had to happen, and I may never get an answer. But what I can do is, instead of finding an answer, I can just for once be myself. And I think that kind of helped me deal with whatever has happened. Also, when you say the word anxiety, that emotion is very new to me. Before June 7th, 2020, I didn't relate to that particular emotion. If someone says, I'm getting an anxiety attack, I'm like, what is that? Because I've never gone through it. I've never been in a situation where I've seen people go through it. Somehow, magically, or it's, I've had a good upbringing, or my surrounding has been like that. I really don't know. I've never met people with that much anxiety. And I think after this particular incident, a whole new world opened up. A whole new, I don't know, probably I was shielded. I was secured in such a way where I wouldn't be, somehow I think my parents and Chiru, these, all the three of them, they're like this huge fortress around me. So they never let any negative emotion, touch me. And then one day that fortress just falls. So you have to deal with it. What do? You can't do anything. You just have to deal with it. So I think that's how it all happened. It just happened.
I have seen pictures of you, and I've seen how you stood by the family during those times. But more often than not, you also need a supportive family to stand by you, because nobody else around you, especially when you're a star, you're supposed to be a certain way. You're supposed to behave a certain way all the time. People won't even understand what you're going through. People feel that
they still don't do.
Exactly. They don't. They
just don't.
Having a supportive family at that point is very important, because I think they only can understand the real emotions. But how much were they privy to what you were feeling, or did you keep it to yourself?
See, support comes in many forms, and not just family. See, family, what happens is that support is by default for me. And I know, when I say this, I might get criticized because a lot of people say we've never got family support. And I feel really blessed that both families, Chiru's family and my family put together, now we are one big family. So in a lot of different ways, it's like the way my parents support me is entirely different from the way his family supports me. So it's two different kinds of support what I've gotten. So I would definitely say that I'm blessed, and that is when I started counting my blessings. So the first form of blessing was I was never alone. I always had my child with me, and of course, two wonderful families who came together to be by my side, who are still by my side, who will always be there by my side. And of course, I've always said this, something I'm very proud of is my circle of friends. So that family has stood by me rock solid. And it is very important, I feel, that at a time like this, for anyone, it's the right kind of people around you who matter.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like you can break. There will always be a point when you break and when you don't know what to do. And beyond that point, you will not find an answer. But having people like my friends and my family around made a huge difference in my life.
But were there moments where you completely broke down and you couldn't even share that or put that out in front of others, including your family? Sometimes what happens is when you are already so broken and your family will get even more stressed if you say, like, I stay away from my family, there are battles I deal and I can't even share it because I know they'll be dealing with more battles because it's not happening right in front of them. So have there been moments like that?
There were moments, there still are moments like that. There are times when I can't tell so many things to the closest circle. There are times when I really want to run to my mom and tell her, this is what I'm going through. But I don't want to, because I know telling her that will not make things all right, because it's just going to make it worse for her. Forget for me. I might have, put out all the anxiety on her, the difficulties on her. What is she going to do next to deal with that? True. So I don't want her to deal with it. So yes, there have been moments, there are still moments where, sometimes I just like being by myself, and sometimes I don't like sharing, sometimes I just want to stand on the rooftop and scream. So there are these varied emotions, and I don't know which emotion works when. It's very different.
But were there moments where you couldn't say it in the beginning and it was difficult for you? Because right now you've dealt with it for the last 2 years. So you're wired, that defense mechanism has been built. Yeah. In the beginning, this is not something that anybody can be prepared for.
True.
It's not out of choice, it's out of compulsion.
Yeah.
So was there moments like that where you were in two minds, ki main kya karu?
Yes, I was. There were times when I would break down completely to an extent where I didn't know how to put the pieces back together. And hopefully, I think that mindset changed when my son was born. So there have been my life has changed drastically on two occasions. One is on June 7th and one is on October 22nd. I've seen extremities, if you
in a matter of 5 months.
Yeah, I've seen, if you want me to put it very poetically, I can say I've seen life and death. So I would say that nothing is easy. Even life is not easy. Even death is not easy. It's just how we look at it, and then you have to move ahead. And I'm not telling that, overnight I got the strength and, I was like, okay, I'm going to be this Wonder Woman whom people are going to look up to. No, that was not even there in my mind. It's like, I don't know how I've taken every day. I really don't know. If you ask me today, I really don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I just used to wake up. I used to go through the day just the way I would. Go, get up, have a cup of coffee. Okay, what do I do next? Okay, I have to have breakfast. Just, you do your regular things. And then one day, everything just comes and hits you back. And then again, you know, that cycle, it keeps happening. So I would say it's not been easy at all.
It can't be. It
Yeah.
can't be. I remember talking to Neena Gupta, and she was promoting a film, and I was talking to her about dealing with the loss of her mother, because she was extremely close to her mother. If you read the book, you will understand that she was very, very, very close to her mother. And she said something so beautiful. She said that when my mother passed away, of course, it was difficult for me to process it because I was working. I got to know, and I just felt very betrayed. I felt, why did you do this to me? How could you go without me? And that is of a mother, How did you react to that? Did you ever feel like that? These are emotions that, लोगों को आप बोलने जाओगे तो people might take it in a wrong way. But I am saying that there are emotions like this that you feel that why would this happen to me? Why did this happen to me?
The word betrayed, yes, but I never, said that to Chiru. I never asked him, why did you betray me? He didn't. He didn't. But I ask God that, I always ask him that. Why? I mean, I always feel, I've said this before, I always feel there are so many people who don't deserve to be walking around and they're all still here. But why Chiru? He doesn't deserve this. He has to look at his son. He was so happy, the minute I said I'm pregnant. And every time, I feel bad. I feel bad not because he's not here physically. I feel bad because he should have been here instead of so many other people enjoying this little one here, enjoying the happiness what life is giving me now. So, yeah, I feel betrayed by God.
But at the same time, when we deal with all this, there are social prejudices. The worst thing that happens is when you're asked to, like for me, is the weirdest thing. And I'm being honest, I just can't face a person. I run away. I can't deal with grief. And I'm being honest about it. Like all my friends know that I can't. Like if something happens to somebody, I can't be there consoling the family.
True.
And I remember, like my sister's also sitting here. So we lost a friend. And my friends just wanted me to go and speak to the mom and dad. And I froze. Because at that moment, I couldn't process anything. And how can I, people often come and say, you have to be happy. You need to be happy. You can't break down.
That is all the things they say. It's all those written, it's in the rule book. These are the words you should use. My condolences with you. Rest in peace. There is this vocabulary for how you console people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you were pregnant at that time.
Yeah, I was.
How many people walked up to you? Today, would you want to speak about it? Because at that point, you were also dealing with a lot of things where you wouldn't have been able to say what you wanted to. But must have been people who came and said, you need to be happy. You need to be happy. That's the worst that people don't realize that it's a statement for them.
I felt like punching them in the face. I was like, don't talk to me. I do not want to be spoken to. And the thing is, I remember that day when, it had been a couple of days after the incident, and I was just sitting there talking to a family member. And I remember this clearly because another family member was like, oh my God, you really have to think about the child now. You have to stop thinking about what's happened. And that is when I looked at the more sensible member in the family and I said, the child is yet to come. Did any one of you even think of me for a second? Did you all ask me if I am going to be okay? Going to be okay for the child is secondary. Going to be okay for the child is going to happen, but only if I'm going to be okay for myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the senior member of the family, being the only person with little common sense, said, yes, we truly understand it. That's exactly why I'm sitting here talking to you today. And then we spoke and, we had our conversation. But I've been in several moments like these, where they come and give you rubbish advice. And they are all advices we do not want to, we don't even ask for it.
True.
They just come and then randomly, and the best among the worst advices given has been, you have to live for your child. You have to think about your child.
True.
Forget about your life. Don't think about what's going to happen. All these dramatic, overly, I don't know whether they're trying to make me feel better or trying to make me lose enthusiasm about life. I don't know what they try to do, but those are the kind of people who are now at an arm's distance in my life. So I think, yes, I've been through that.
Often I have seen nowadays social media is good and bad. Like it's good, bad, ugly on social media. And it is the weapon used to troll, shame people. Especially in the last 2 years, I have seen such horrible things happen to women. Siddharth Shukla lost. We lost Siddharth Shukla. We lost Mandira Bedi's husband. And the problem is that more than that loss, people spoke about what they were wearing. Why were they happy after 4 months? And these are things that are often asked to women, like how can they move on so easily? That's often the topic of discussion. Did you face that kind of scrutiny? Did you feel like running away from social media or having a detox like that ever?
Honestly, no. I did not face any kind of negativity at that point of time. I think in a way Chiru shielded me then also. The way he shielded me is so magical. If not for Rayaan, I think I would have gotten all the negativity in the world. I think what really shook people was that I was 4.5 months pregnant at that time. I still feel that. I still, there are days when I think, if I was not pregnant then, how would people look at me now? That now that Chiru is not physically around here, how would people treat me now? How, what would they talk about me? So these are things that run in my mind, but I also think, I told you, he's
the guardian angel.
He's definitely my guardian angel. He just couldn't, he can't, leave me without protecting me, and he did. And how? So I feel somehow I didn't feel, face any kind of negativity, but I do not react kindly, when I look at other people, in similar situations being criticized for what they're doing, because none of us know anyone's story completely. So I don't think it's easy, to comment on social media, because you're just typing, you're just thinking, you're typing, and you're putting it out there. You're not living the life of the other person who's actually breathing every second and going through that emotion, right? So it's very easy for me also, when I look at somebody wearing something, I'll be like, I don't think, she has any pain. Look at her dress. If she's wearing this, that means she has no problem in life. How does your clothes define what problems you have in life?
True.
And social media has filters. Even the worst looking clothes can look really good.
And life has filters on social media.
Exactly.
Who puts their life unfiltered?
Yeah. I wouldn't, the reason, there was a point of time when I wanted to quit social media. Not because people were negative. Actually, for me, God's grace, Chiru's grace, people have been extremely positive to me on social media. And I have tried to look at only the positive side of it. Yes, there have been not equal share, but lesser, a percentage of people who have tried to poke me and say, even, just very recently, I had put up a post of I think where I was eating something. Yeah, I was eating
burgers.
I was continuously eating. So it was my binge day, and, it was a random decision that I'm going to put it on social media. And then some random comment saying, oh, so now you don't remember Chiru at all. I'm like, I don't have to prove it to you, brother. I really don't have to prove it to you. Whether I remember him, I think of him, it's completely up to me. I don't have to every single day put up a post saying, I'm doing this, I'm eating this, I'm remembering this person, I'm, following this person or doing this. I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have a legal contract with anyone to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think had he been here, he would have wanted you to be happy all your life, and that's exactly what you're doing. It's absolutely fine, let me tell you.
It is.
And we have to normalize this. This is what I hope to achieve, even if it's in 1% change in the mindset of the people who think like that. I would feel that we've done a good job. Yeah. And honestly, I'll tell you something, that he's left behind a legacy that reeks of kindness and empathy.
Yes.
more than anything else, it's the goodwill that has worked for
It
both
is.
of you.
Yes.
And when you have that kindness and empathy, and when you have people who want you to be happy around you, then you automatically veer towards happiness.
So this is something I've always wanted to tell people, and I'm sure I have also said this a couple of times. It's that Chiru didn't have to do a magnum opus. He didn't have to do a pan-India
Absolutely.
film. He didn't have to, start a trust fund or anything. He did what anyone should basically do. He did it because he felt it's his duty. So when people came home, he made sure they were happy, irrespective of what kind of a mindset he was in, irrespective of if his film was not doing well, or if a film which he had just signed could not start off. He was never unkind, and he always made sure that if there are people in his house, if there are people in his company, they should feel extremely happy, and he made sure of that. I think June 7th, the kind of people who turned up for him, proved that.
Absolutely. Your relationship with him, like, we have to remember him fondly, because I feel that he's left that legacy where people, जैसे dialogue है, एक Bollywood का dialogue है कि जिंदगी लंबी नहीं बड़ी होनी चाहिए.
Yeah.
And I think he's left that as an everlasting
True.
impression.
Yeah.
I feel he has lived that big life where people who remember him, who know him, who don't know him, who have heard about him, have only heard nice things and happy things.
Yeah, true.
When did you first meet him? Because I don't think, in the interviews that you've done, you've ever spoken about this. Nobody's ever asked you this, but because your relationship has been like a really long-standing one, in today's times when relationships are crumbling genuinely, it's a rock solid one, to be very honest.
Yeah, I think that's why God was so jealous.
My mom says that, that God doesn't really always favor the kind. Because she lost her... So I lost my mama when I was 6 months old, and she lost her brother. So she stopped doing puja. I don't know why I'm talking about all this, which is very negative.
No,
but
it's not.
It's just that when you said that, it hit me. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. So you want to know how the relationship started?
Yeah. Where did you guys meet? You were very young, from what I know.
Yeah, I think I was around 17, 18. Yeah. Is that considered very young?
Matlab, young.
It's nice to know it's considered really young. Now, at that time I felt very adult-like, and now I feel like a child. I'm
Which is the best way to lead life, let's
Really?
be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I started doing films when I was around 17, and that's when I met Chiru, but not on the sets of a film. A lot of people have gotten that wrong. I have known Chiru for quite some time. I mean, like, even before films. But I mean, we've had a number of mutual friends, like Panaga and Prajwal, but I never met Chiru through them. So, that's a different group, and I've had my own set of friends. When we officially met was when there was this function that was organized to felicitate Chief Minister Yediyurappa sir. I think it was in the year 2008 or 2009. So we were all performing. So we were all the upcoming stars then, So all the upcoming stars were supposed to perform. And so the film chamber had organized the Thanksgiving function. That was the first time I saw. First time I spoke to Chiru. I mean, I've seen him, been around, but that was the first time when I had a one-to-one conversation, thanks to my mom. So I think I had a dress rehearsal. So I just finished my performance. I remember wearing this red gown for the performance, and I just finished the dress rehearsal, and I stopped dancing, and my mom called me. I got down from the stage, I came, and then she's like, Kutima, this Chiru. I mean, this is Chiru. Arjun uncle's nephew. I was like, I know. And that is when we shook hands. And he didn't let go of my hand.
Oh, so it was love at first speech.
Yeah, it was very filmy, very, very filmy. It was quite awkward for me because my mother was standing right there, and she's a very strict woman. So I'm like just standing like that and looking at him, and he's like, hi, I'm Chiranjeevi. And he's like I still remember when he walked in. I think I'd already checked him out when he was walking in from the stage itself.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, I'm very honest. I was like, nice and all. So I still remember how he walked in. He did that, and he has this habit. He does this to his hair, and he does that, to the back of the hair like that. So he just did that, and he walked in. Yeah, I was like, okay. I think I was like, fixed, okay, nice. And then, my mom introduced us, and then we hit it off.
And then who made the first move after that? Did you?
Chiru. Yeah. He made the first move.
So I want to know, he made the first move. Okay.
Yeah, he made the first move.
But when did you first realize that this is the person I want to be with?
I'm very old school when it comes to romance. So it's like, I mean, of course, I knew he's the one. You just know things, These are things when you
just feel it.
You just feel it, It's just that vibe. So I knew, he knew too, but he wasn't, asking me,
for how many months or years?
I think both of us gradually just grew into this relationship. It wasn't planned. So once we became very good friends, both of us, we just knew. We're like, okay. But the first time he asked me was on December 19th, 2009. I remember this. I remember this very well because I was right outside Mac showroom in Bangalore, and he didn't know that I had come back to Bangalore from Kerala. So he messaged me saying, "You didn't tell me that you've come back to Bangalore." I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to tell you. So I could sense that irritation and that possessiveness. Like, why am I not being informed about where you're going and coming? And I was a little taken aback. I was like, okay, there is something more to his question. And I still remember that so clearly. I just opened the door of the car and I get a message saying, I'm like, why should I tell you? I didn't know you wanted me to tell you, or something like that. I've told him, and he messages back saying, I think I really like you. I froze. Like, I just opened the door. I'm like this. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to say. I'm like, I just got out of the car and I took the phone. I'm like, I need time. I just typed that. I didn't reply after that. Came back home. I was like shaking. That's that excitement when you have the same feelings for the person. It's just that, girls like to play around a bit. So I didn't want to immediately show him any kind of...
You're too honest.
Yeah. We like that little attention, So, and then I come back home. Then I see the message like, how much time do you need? Like, I don't know. I mean, in my head, I'm already saying yes. Like, just tell yes. I'm like, I don't know. I think I need some time. Because it was December 19th, I was just waiting to say yes till December 25th because it's Christmas.
Okay.
So it's like 6 or 5 days. Then he's like, okay, when are you going to give me an answer? I said, wait, I'll let you know. Then I fly back to Kerala the next day. And, like, obviously your mind, you're not able to concentrate on shoot and all that. And it's my first Malayalam film and I don't even know how to talk the language. So, like, too many things happening in my head, butterflies, stars all over. But yeah, then I remember I flew back on the 24th. And 25th, I'm waiting, 25th, like, it has to strike 12, waiting. And then I messaged him, like, it's a yes. Oh God, that moment, I think, sealed the deal for us.
Absolutely. But you continued dating for a really long time, for 9 more years before you got married. Was that a conscious decision on both your parts?
Not really. It was not a conscious decision. It's just like we didn't want to jump into that whole experience of marriage. We were too young and we still had families to convince, no? We were very scared.
Oh, you didn't tell the family?
No. We are South Indians. You can't like just go and tell the family that. No.
For how long?
For a very, very, very long time, I think.
What? I thought they knew.
They know us as friends, no?
Achha.
Yeah, because see, a lot of friends come home. I go to friends' places. See, that and all is allowed, but South Indian parents are South Indian parents.
But when did you tell them finally?
I think South Indian parents are not very dumb also. Huh? They can pick up hints like this, but they will not react. So I think about the marriage part, Chiru actually, came and like a gentleman spoke to my mom.
Oh, wow.
I think I told my parents that I probably in the year 2015, I think, 15 or 16. I don't really remember the day exactly. I remember a lot of things, but sometimes I do forget my details.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's allowed. It's allowed.
Yeah, I think around that time.
But he's left a wonderful piece of his soul with you.
Yes.
And that is something that is the most beautiful part of your life at this point. And like I said, I'm obsessed about those videos. How did that change? You were going through so much when he was within you, he was a part of you. So even if he was not out there for the world to see, he has been through. They say that the baby understands all of it, right? So he's been part of it through you.
Yes.
What did you go through? Like, what were the changes that you had to deal with?
I think, firstly, it's the trauma was not welcome. It just happened, and it took time for me to deal with it. And more importantly, I think when the incident happened, I don't know how it, medically or biologically how it happens, I don't know, but your motherly instincts kick in very soon. I have said this earlier that the first thing I did after I heard the news was to call my gynecologist, because I had to hold on to the most precious thing about Chiru, and that's our child. So I would do anything in this world, anything under the sky, to make sure that Rayaan was okay.
Absolutely. Do you feel that having him with you has helped you, has made you? Everybody is talking about how positive your approach has been. Do you feel had he not been there, your approach would have been a lot more different? Because you would only have to think about yourself. Here you have to think about yourself and the beautiful addition that you had to your life. You feel that has brought in a lot more positivity actually and helped you deal with it?
Yes, it has. To a large extent, yes. And even today, when people ask me, how are you so positive about life? We all need something to hold on to, and I held on to Rayaan very tightly. And this is, they say when someone truly loves you, they make sure you're never alone.
True.
And I think there's no other better example than me and Rayaan. Chiru loves me so much. He used to always promise me saying, "You will never be alone. You will never be alone." And he's kept up his promise wonderfully. And I think, yes, things would have been very different without Rayaan. I would not like to think about if he was not around, what my life would have been. That is something else. That is something that's if or but. So I don't want to think about that. Rayaan is here. It's because of him. Because, as people say, Chiru in a different form.
Yeah. The king and the prince.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that is what has made me what I am today. That is what has helped me get through. Yeah, but yes, I have had days when everything has not been rosy and everything has not been like, you win a war and come and everything is okay. No, it's not like that.
One thing that I want to ask you is that there are many men and women today in the country who choose single parenting, but yours wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
It was circumstantial.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of compulsion.
Yes.
But the way you have led life in the last 1.5 years, it's beautiful. Because you can never think of yourself, bahar se bol raha hu, I couldn't see you alone. I've always seen you with the child.
Yeah.
Like, even when I think of anything, I picture you with the child. It's a fact. It's become like this perception, and it's a good perception to have. Was it difficult initially to play the mother and the father? Or do you feel that it has given you that power?
It is true that I'm his mother and his father now in a physical sense.
Yeah.
When people will ask him, children, all these thoughts come to me when he goes to school. Other children will ask him, because children won't know what happened back in 2020, no?
True.
And they will ask him, how is he going to answer? Am I supposed to, be that fatherly figure to him? So one of my cousins. We're quite close, and she has a single parent. And this is the first thing I asked her. I was like, you are a single parent child. Did it ever affect you when someone asked you, where's your father? Or what, people tend to ask you random questions. She's like, it did affect me. I was like, okay, and how did you deal with it? She's like, I chose not to deal with it. It's like, why should I deal with it? And I said, did auntie try being both the father and the mother? She's like, I don't want her to try and be a father to me. If she's a good mother, that's enough.
Wow, lovely.
So that's what I'm trying to be to Rayaan, because Rayaan doesn't need me to be a father. He already has one.
Exactly.
And a wonderful person is his father. He will always look up to that man. He will always follow his principles only when I am a good mother. So I'm just working on being a good mother.
He's physically not seen his father or felt his touch. But how often and how do you make sure that he recognizes Chiru? And does he already?
He does already. I mean, there are a lot of videos about him, where he's, like he looks at Chiru. Any picture of Chiru, if Chiru's videos are on TV, he watches them and he says, Appa, Appa. He recognizes. I don't know how. I really don't know how. And we at home did not, every day go show Chiru and say, Appa, Appa. No, we didn't do that. Yes, we have done it once or twice because, the child is like a white sheet of paper.
Of course.
Wouldn't know anything. So yes, there have been 1 or 2 times when I've said, Appa, Appa. That's it. And you can look at any random picture of Chiru and say, that's Appa.
So is there a particular picture that he really likes?
There is a fan-made, one is, yes, of course, Chiru's picture in our house. The other picture is that of Chiru. It's right there on the wall. So
it's a beautiful picture.
Yeah. So it's a picture of, actually, the original picture is of Chiru holding me, and that's also, it was clicked on Christmas Eve.
Celebrating the yes.
Yes, celebrating the yes. And I think they've edited my face and put Ryan's face there. So that particular picture he loves a lot.
Absolutely. I have to ask you this because I've often seen when you're a single parent, you are financially independent. You're a secure woman. You have your own vulnerabilities like all of us, men, women, regardless. But when you lose a partner, whether it's by choice or compulsion, after a point, everybody around you starts thinking you should restart your life again and you should get remarried and all that. And it bothers people. I know there are people who get really bothered by it. Did that happen to you? Did those kind of social conditioning around you really irk you?
See, I think our society's mindset is such that there's one bunch of people who are advising me to get married again. There are one bunch of people who are telling me, I think you should just be happy with your son. So who do I listen to?
Listen to yourself.
Exactly. So I haven't asked myself that question yet. This moment, I am not going to think, I've always said this, one thing Chiru's left behind is the way one should live in the moment.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to think about what's going to happen tomorrow or how my life is going to be after a couple of days. No, I'm just thinking about now.
Absolutely, and that is how it should be. I think that, like you said, that you don't have to be the mother and father, and you also, in the same breath, I can tell you that you don't need a man or a woman to complete you. You can be you if you're a man, if you're a father, if you're a mother, and that's the beauty of your relationship with him. And I know for a fact when I see those videos, I know that you are trying to inculcate both your sides, like you and him in him. There's a lot of him in your child, which is why he's called what he's called. He's called the Prince.
Yeah.
So when did you decide on the name? Was it a decision that you'd taken beforehand?
Yeah, I knew that I was going to name him something which is going to be, resonating with the word Prince. But I didn't know what the name is going to be. There are so many names which still mean Prince. And you do know that, in South India, we believe in choosing a letter and then, naming them according to that particular letter. But I was not finding anything good. Sometimes it's not the letter. Sometimes it's more to do with the name,
True.
you know, and all the names that came up with that particular letter was, no, it was not suiting him, not at all. I said, my child can't be called this. It just can't. And you know, there is no vibration in this. So I'm not going to call him that. And then a very close friend of mine, both of us, you know, you keep asking people. That is when this name came up, Rayaan. And then, you know, you start digging into the meaning of it and everything. And then the name Rayaan and Gates to
Paradise.
Gates of Paradise came. So then it was apt.
Absolutely. He's
Yeah.
opened the gates of paradise for
Yes.
you, of course. I just want to tell you one thing, that we've had like a really long chat. I had walked in, never meeting you. This is the first time we meet, but we've spoken only on social media. But respecting the journey you've had, I will walk out of here knowing a person who I'm going to respect for life, for handling the journey the way you have had, to be very honest. I started off saying that it has given me a lot of power, and I hope, and I really hope, that this interview gives all those the power, the strength, especially when they need it and they don't have anything or anyone to fall back on, because there are moments like that where you feel lonely, but it's okay to feel lonely.
It's okay.
Because you're never alone in that.
You're never alone. And I think every time you look for validation, don't look outside.
Absolutely.
Look within.
And like I always say, that this was Meghana Raj Sarja's story with us, and if she can, you can too.
If I can, anyone can.
Absolutely.
I'm the most I can't person, but if I can, anyone can.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nandi.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Meghana Raj Sarja, and you are watching me on Bollywood Bubble. Please like, share, and subscribe.